We're on the fourth Devo in the Father series, and this one is called He Knows. Luke 12 is such a familiar passage, and we're told not to worry about our life, what we will eat, wear, or anything, and to observe the birds. God feeds them, and we are much more valuable than birds. We're also told that worrying doesn't add anything to our life, so why should we worry at all? And then we're told to look at the wildflowers, how full of splendor they are, and if God clothes the fields, then He will clothe us so much more. And then we're told again not to set our hearts on eating and drinking and to have no worry. And at the end of that passage it says, your Father knows that you need them. And when we read that, we are to seek His kingdom, and all these things that He just mentioned will be given to us, good gifts as well. What's interesting is what then follows. It says, it's the Father's pleasure to give us the kingdom. And then He says to sell your possessions, give to the poor, provide purses that won't wear out, treasure in heaven that won't fail. We often hear this passage in a sermon or read it, and the focus is to seek His kingdom first, and all these things will be added to us. At least that's what I've heard most. But let's focus on the other part that says the Father knows that we need them, and them is food and drink, clothing and life. Well, yes, those are things we need to live in this world. Clothing to cover our nakedness so we're not vulnerable and afraid. Food and drink for strong bodies, and sustenance to enable us to do that third thing, live. But He knew we would worry about these things. We work hard and we seek raises at work, and we work harder so that we can have these things in order to live. But what He wants us to focus on are the birds and the wildflowers. Every morning when I wake up, I can hear the birds singing in our trees, and sometimes I step outside just to listen. Birds land and line up on wires where we sit at red lights. Birds fly above our heads, and little kids point at them. Birds scatter seed. They build nests constantly, and they flitter back and forth. Maybe our Father said to observe them because they're everywhere. One doesn't really have to go looking for birds, and we're supposed to note how God cares for them. My gosh, sticks and twigs are there for their homes. Grass is littered with seeds for them. And our Father wants us to get that He is aware and present to provide what we need, as near as stepping out our front door or opening a window to see a bird fly. What about those wildflowers? Well, here where we live, we just had fields of them, which we do every spring. And every spring, I'm amazed at the beauty and color that emerges seemingly out of nowhere, even after cold winters where ice destroyed so many other things, but the wildflowers still appeared. People drive for miles to see them. They take family photos in the fields of wildflowers. Wildflowers make drivers stop to gaze at their beauty. And our Father wants us to note that if He can cause beauty to arise out of barren fields seemingly overnight, how much more can He care for us and bring beauty out of ashes? So yes, we need to seek His kingdom, and all these things will be added, to realize that our Father knows we need them. But in a healthy family, children don't pull on their father's pants to beg for clothing and food. They go to their closets, and clothing hangs there in their size as they grow all of their lives. They arrive at the table, and food is prepared from the pantry that is full from the weekly grocery haul. Parents have set good food before them. They don't give a thought to those things, clothing or food, unless the provider is missing. And we read last time about how God is the father to the fatherless. So even if the provider of what we need, whether it be job or person or strength or health, is gone, our Father knows what we need, and He will supply. Knowing that He knows, is that good enough? If we truly know the Father, it is, but only if we know His character and trust. We are told to seek His kingdom, and what does that mean, even? I read a different kind of an answer than what I've generally answered or heard taught. To seek God's kingdom means we have made a conscious decision to turn toward God versus anxiety or worry. To seek God's kingdom means to make a conscious decision to turn toward God versus anxiety or worry. Wow, I've never heard that answer before. Could it be that seeking His kingdom first means to set our hearts on trusting in the Father instead of worrying? In other words, it might not be seeking to serve or give or do or follow this list of rules, but rather to trust the Father who knows and who gives. This frees us from worry and enables us to live lives that truly share what we have with others, because we have no worry that the supply will ever run dry, because our Father knows.